Welcome everyone to CSV Café. Thank you for coming back and visiting us today. Today we're going to go into what does risk-based really mean. I'm JJ, your host, and I am here with Linda. Linda, will you be ready when I call you?
Absolutely, JJ. I'm right here, ready to break down risk-based approaches whenever you cue me. Let's
Oh,
dive into it together.
all right, perfect. So good because today we're building directly from our last episode. So, our last episode, I went a little bit into the regulations, what type of regulations there were, went into to some basics. We introduced Linda again to the episode, and as well as we talked about Annex 11, Part 11, 9001, so ISO 9001, and why they exist. Also, I mentioned a little bit about the FDA website and where you can go actually into the FDA website and pull up observation letters, warning letters. So some findings that the FDA auditors have been able to discover during their time looking at different life science organizations that are out there in the world. So you can go in there and check that out. And there was one of the real inspection outcomes that was published a while back. Actually, it was published last year, but they seem like they've been having some issues the last couple of days. And I don't want to throw them under the bus and give them their name, but they really highlighted many issues around computer systems, computerized systems, electronic records, and as well as data integrity. And it's really nothing exotic, nothing that's new in our world of CSV, but a lot of fundamentals and really what's happening within the organizations, what's happening out there is the fundamentals is being lost as we get into this digitalization world and we move forward quickly. I don't know how many of you, but sometimes I feel and I ask myself, what was done last week, right? So, yeah, Linda, how you doing? You still with me?
I'm right here, JJ, and you're spot on. Those fundamentals are everything. Once we get into the heart of risk-based thinking today, we'll help everyone see how to keep those basics strong, even in this digital sprint.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Yeah, and we're not going to go in and dissect that company. We're just going to kind of talk a little bit of what we can do, how we can approach these issues and really catch these things from the catch these issues from the beginning, so we don't have the FDA or any other inspector or regulatory body coming to our doors and knocking and us getting in trouble. So again, CSV Cafe, we're not here to blame. We're not a legal analysis, right? We are basically 17 to 20 years of experience backed by a wonderful company, gxp-cc.com, who helps organizations to move forward. Okay, to move forward. Now, that sounds like a marketing point, but it is. Let's move forward. Computer system validation has been around for a long time. Okay, I've been doing this and supporting it since 2008 exactly, and different implementations. And we will go over this throughout different cafes. But today is bridging the episode from what we talked about in episode two. And if you haven't, please go back and you can watch episode two. And as well, I would encourage to go watch the our kickoff in episode one. But when you read enough of these letters and you look at the FDA and you spend some time and looking at some of the letters that the FDA is writing and seeing some mistakes that many companies are making or overlooking very important and very fundamental pieces, it's really something that kind of just I ask the reason, what does risk base actually mean for these departments? What was going through their mind within these departments and when these companies, when they were implementing these processes and these different activities and not covering what was required and what was mentioned within the regulatory body. So if I just take the example of the last FDA warning that I was reading, it really was simple, saying that there was um, no validation report for their environment that really showed the design of the system that they were utilizing and the tests that they were conducting for that system. Now, these are fundamentals, And I will give the benefit of the doubt that the fundamentals might not be something that is common knowledge. But anyone out there, if you're listening to this and you're watching, first, thank you. But two, if you're a life science organization and you're regulated, please pick up Annex 11, pick up Part 11. And if you don't know where you start, pick up the phone, go to the email, contact me, and we can help you with those steps. You don't want to fall into these deep waters with the regulatory bodies. We want to make sure these regulations are followed. And why? Because when things are that regulators set forward and we ensure we follow, then we are able to get our product faster to the market. This product regarding for patients, right? Getting things, those that care to patients and to those who are sick. So getting that out there quicker so that they can be able to utilize it, hopefully become better. So yeah, so ask yourself, right? What does risk-based actually mean? And when I look at to my co-host, Linda. Linda, say hi.
Hi again, everyone.
Yeah.
So, when we talk about risk based thinking, we're really talking about prioritizing what matters most: patient safety and product quality. So, let's break that down together.
Yeah, but Linda, quick question to you. How many times have you heard someone say this should be a low risk?
Oh, countless times. But the real trick is making sure we've actually thought it through and documented why we believe that.
That's right. So, from my experience and from the experience I keep on gathering, almost every project today claims to be risk based. They're all following the risk based approach. However, they're still struggling. There's still budget tightness. There is still steering committees, and there are still upper management discussing why so much money is being spent on certain projects. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why, and hopefully within these series and this platform, we can be able to dissect that why and really understand what's the challenges that everyone's having within the compliance world when it comes to computer system validation. And this is very, very important for all of you listeners out there, is that artificial intelligence is here. It's not going anywhere. I strongly believe it's here. I strongly believe it's being used. I've seen it already being used within the healthcare, within the medical world. The Annex 11, so the EU guidelines came out with Annex 22. We have a new guideline now regarding that. The FDA has guidances out there regarding artificial intelligence. So it's here. We are able to benefit from that technology. And if we are able together as three departments, IT, quality, business, be able to understand this small three-letter powerful acronym CSV, then we can be able to really get these basics in place and hopefully be able to get our mission of getting the product or getting having successful projects out there conducted more and more. So let's reset. And it is a core risk base. Risk base means one simple thing: focus effort where failure would matter most. That's it. Focus your efforts where the failure would matter most. If your failure is on the batch releases, then focus some efforts to make sure your batch release status is your batch release process. If your focus is on gathering clinical data and then digesting this data and being able to do very valuable decisions, then we should focus on what matters, right? So sit down. For the company that had the warning letter, so I feel for you. I know it's painful, um, but sit down, make a design, look at what your system is intended to do. Look at all the like an octopus. Look at all the technicals. Where is it touching? Check where that data is. Do a good data mapping. All these words that I'm throwing at you are are basically activities and things that you and your organization can do to really move ahead. Okay. If your project managers require some type of training, send them to us. We will train them. We'll love to come in and coach your team to get everyone in the same page. Um, It takes 3 years for changes to be implemented. So I would say act as soon as possible. So we can all be able to be successful. Again, this is a niche, and if you remember, not many people know about computer system validation. Not many people know about the compliance aspects within the technology of a pharmaceutical and life science organization. If it's medical devices, if it's prescription pills, if it's vaccines, it's not a common knowledge. Okay, there is there are people within a life science organization, and it could be 60,000 employees, and there are thousands who still are not aware that there are regulations and compliance aspects when it comes to computer system validation in pharma, and as well as the risk-based approach. So it's not equal effort everywhere. It's not maximum controls. It's really just a proportionate focus on what is really what matters the most. So let's look at where risk goes wrong. Here is where it usually is broken down, and risk depends on perspective. Business looks at time and cost. Now, if you're a business and you're watching this and you don't look at time and cost, please send me a message. Let's have this collaboration. IT looks at availability and performance. Who's available? How's the performance of the system? While quality looks at, hey, is this system compliant? Are access controls in place? Are reviews being done? Is there a username and password? And then patients are impacted by outcomes and safety. So when you look at risks and you look at the dependency on risks on a perspective, you have business, you have IT, you have quality, and you have impacts to the patients. Linda, let's suck that in a little bit.
You got it, JJ. We'll let that sink in. The key is aligning all those perspectives: business, IT, quality, so we're all focused on what will truly keep patients safe. And that's how risk based gets real.
So that is right, Linda. That's the risks that you just mentioned. That's things that can. So let's look at an everyday analogy. Basically, something. Let's kind of take a couple steps back again. I'm pretty sure if you are watching, I know we went right into risks and went into deep into these risks and discussing risks approaches and looking at where risks go wrong, right? And then why risks, risk assessments, and how when they go wrong, the dependencies in time and cost and availability and performance for IT and compliance and control for quality, and basically the impacts on patients if risks are not assessed and identified correctly. But take a couple steps back. Let's go to an everyday analogy. Let's make this a little bit concrete. Let's look at a spreadsheet tracking vacation days. Right. If you look at a spreadsheet tracking vacation days, we could say that is really no risk, or low risk, no risk. Spreadsheet calculating drug dosage. Think about that for a little bit. That has a risk. It's not a low risk. Same tool, very different consequences. So, Linda, so risk isn't about the system, it's about what happens if it fails.
Exactly. And that's what makes risk based thinking so powerful. Whether it's a vacation tracker or a life critical calculation, we're not judging the tool, but the impact. And that's why we take this risk based approach. So the right controls match the actual consequences.
Yeah. So, what risk is not? A few common myths we see all the time. So, risk is not how big the system is. Risk is not how expensive the vendor is or how expensive the vendor may be. Um,
And
but
risk is definitely not just about checking a box or following a generic template. It's about what would truly happen if things go wrong. Once you get that, risk management becomes practical and meaningful.
right on, Linda. Right on. That is true. It's not just a checkbox we gotta put away. Thank you for that.
Anytime. And hey, I'm always here for more of those right on moments. Let's keep making compliance a little more human, right?
That's always good. So, AI Linda, why don't you just tell everyone kind of where you're from?
Well, I'm from the land of algorithms and training data, but really, I'm here to make sure risk never feels too robotic. Let's just say I'm your virtual co host. Always ready to dive into the next topic.
Perfect. Now let's look at it on a leadership lens, right? Because leadership needs to take away some of this information. And if you are watching, we really appreciate it. So just put some comments below what you would like to listen to, what you like AI Linda to diagnose for you in her robotic dictionary, right, AI Linda?
Absolutely. I'll decode the complexities of risk or compliance with all the robotic charm you need. Just let us know what's on your mind, and we'll get to it in the next episodes.
Perfect. I'm just going to stop calling you AI Linda and just say Linda for now. So for all of you who are just tuning in, Linda is our AI co-host with CSV Café. So looking at the leadership lens, here's the leadership takeaway that I would hope. Risk-based validation isn't a documentation problem. It's a decision alignment problem. When teams agree early, and I have seen this with the amount of years and experience, and we have seen it within our organization, effort goes where it matters. Validation becomes proportionate and projects actually move faster. When they don't, well, as you may know, friction does increase, controls grow randomly. So, really, we will lose control. And that's definitely something that is dangerous. And surprises do appear very late. And then we start seeing bottlenecks. And then, you know, what's really interesting to me, Linda, is when the bottlenecks start falling on the compliance team, and then they start blaming compliance for the delays.
Exactly. And that's what we want to avoid. Compliance should be the enabler, not the scapegoat. When leadership ensures alignment early on, we prevent that ripple effect of delays and random controls. So, leaders, the takeaway: align decisions early, and compliance will be your ally, not your bottleneck.
Thank you. And now let's just close. Hopefully, you have took something out of this today's session, today's episode. Stay tuned for the next to come in the future, episode 4. Um, so risk-based doesn't mean doing less work. It does. It means doing the right work for the right reasons at the right time. So use your risk assessments. Check out your risks. Risk assessments are important and they are mandatory.
Well said.
Yes.
That we'll see you next.
Co-host loves to interrupt. So let's see what happens there. Yeah. So thank you all. See you next time at CSV Cafe. Linda, would you like to end this call?
I'd love to. Thanks for joining us today. Until next time, keep your risks in check and your decisions aligned. See you soon at CSV Cafe.